And we've been talking about what Trump is going to do tonight. Tonight, you are going to see the official launch of the Trump 2020 for President campaign. That's what's going on. It's just that simple. And the way you know this is that for the last 3 days, the Trump campaign has been running ads on television, 1 minute, 60-second ads, talking about the wall. And at the very end, they say, paid for by the Trump re-election campaign. And Donald Trump says, I authorize this expenditure. Where's that effect? This is the campaign. Now, when Barack Obama in 2016 asked the networks to address the nation on an evening during prime time to roll out his DACA program, the deferred arrivals, whatever it is, the program for young people who were brought to this country. When he asked for time to roll that out, the network said, no. You just want to do this to help Democrats. We're not going to put you on the air. Back in 2006, when George W. Bush wanted to go before the nation to talk about immigration, the network said, fine. The networks seem to have a thing about Republicans. If you look at any of the Sunday shows, it's mostly Republicans. If you look at throughout the day, most of the commentators and most of the panelists are Republicans. But anyhow, this is the rolling out of the campaign. It's going to happen tonight, number one. Number two, I believe that he's going to, here's what I predict is going to happen. Donald Trump declares a state of emergency and says the military can now build my wall. Case closed. I can dust my hands off. I did a good job, and let's move on. Mitch McConnell, you take up that legislation from the Democrats in the House and put it in the Senate and allow a vote. It'll pass, and we all know it'll pass. And the government will open back up on Thursday or Friday, or optimally, I think in Trump's world, the government will open up on Sunday because that way he can claim that he has the longest shutdown in the history of the United States. And what it all is about is two things. Number one, pandering to his base, saying, look, I went to the mat to stop those brown people from coming into the United States. Have you noticed they don't even speak English? This is, at the core of his entire presidency. This was the issue that he rolled out when he first announced his candidacy as a stunt to try to get NBC to pay him more than Gwen Stefani back in 2015. This has always been his central focus, is keep out the brown people. So, he gets to do that, number one. But number two, this sucks up all the oxygen in the room for other discussions. There's no discussion in the media right now, no serious discussion about the crimes of the Trump crime family. There's no serious discussion about Trump was named in a public indictment of Michael Cohen as the guy who ordered Michael Cohen to commit a crime that he's now going to prison for 3 years for. Well, if Trump ordered it, he should be going to prison for at least 3 years. No discussion. Let's talk about something else, right? This is what Trump wants. Let's talk about something else. So, as soon as he does this, as soon as he says the military is going to build the wall, the Democrats and the ACLU and a bunch of other organizations are going to sue him in federal court. The federal courts will say, nope, Trump, you can't do it until we decide. On the Republican side, on Fox News, on right-wing hate radio, they're all going to be going, oh my God, the courts are legislating from the bench. They're frustrating our wonderful president's attempt to stop the brown people from coming here. This is going to be their thing. He gets to be a martyr all over again, which he wants. He wants the courts to stop him. It was the same with his Muslim ban. He didn't care if they were actually banned. He knew that Muslims coming into the United States didn't represent a threat. But he also knew that it was good politics when you're pandering to a white racist base, a tiny white racist base. He's doing the same thing right now. He wants the courts to stop him so that he can say, well, I'm the victim again. Me and all you conservatives out there, we're the victims. It's their trump card, pun intended. The conservatives are just these pathetic snowflakes. Oh my God, he won't let us. And so he gets to declare victory. Okay, I declared an emergency. I did everything I could. He gets to reopen the government and save face in the process, which is really what this is all about. He kicks off his 2020 re-election campaign for President of the United States. He's already running the ads, been doing so for 3 days. And he hands to and he reopens the government, and he hands to the federal courts the role of villain in his little morality play, where he can continue to say, oh, I'm the poor victim here. And John Roberts may just be, I mean, you know, John Roberts has been consistently sucking up to Republicans, you know, blowing up the Voting Rights Act with Shelby County, the Shelby County decision, you know, granting corporate personhood, you know, blocking good government legislation, you know, the Citizens United and other, I mean, just a whole series of, yes, we'll do whatever the Republicans want, you know, saying that it's okay for Texas to basically, you know, racially ban people from voting, essentially, and on and on. You know, now that Roberts is starting to be called out a lot, there is some speculation that John Roberts will say, you know, yeah, and he will defy Alito and Thomas and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, the four, you know, all Trump, all right-wing, hardcore right-wing guys on the Supreme Court, that Roberts might defy them and say, you know, I'm going to vote with the liberals on this. But whichever way it goes, if Trump wins in the Supreme Court, he wins. He gets a state of emergency. With a state of emergency, he can arrest anybody he wants. He can say that, you know, you fill in the blank, right? You, Thom Hartmann, a liberal talk show host. He is a designated person. He might be engaged in suspicious activity, and therefore close all his bank accounts. You know, shut down his mortgage. Stop everything. Right? I mean, literally, when the president declares a state of emergency, he can designate individuals, citizens of the United States, and shut them down, close all their banking activity, forbid their employer from writing a check to them any longer. By the way, this has been done. It was done by George W. Bush under the guise of a state of emergency. It was done to people who had connections to you know, Muslim terrorists, but it was done. And it turned out with two of those people that those ties didn't even exist. He still did it. So Trump gets enormous powers if he wins at the Supreme Court. If he loses at the Supreme Court, he still wins, because he gets to go on Fox News and he gets to go on right-wing hate radio and say, I'm the victim here. The courts are frustrating my attempts to save America from invasions by brown people. And all of the white racist right-wing yahoos out there in Trump land and all across America, where the only station you can get on your radio is right-wing hate radio, they'll all go, yep, I guess so, yep. Hey, Donald Trump looking out for my white skin interests. You get what's going on here? And then on top of this, now just today, Natalia Vetselnskaya was indicted for running this, for fronting for a company, the Russian company, that was running this incredible scam. They created a false identity which was identical to another company. It would be the equivalent of, you know, Thom Hartmann, the Thom Hartmann Program. I have this little business, the Thom Hartmann Program, saying, I'm going to, on the internet, I found the employer ID number for AT&T. I know what it is. And so I'm going to create a phony lawsuit. It's going to look like AT&T sued me and that I lost and that I had to pay them $1 million. And so what can I do now? I can claim $1 million tax deduction. I have a loss on the books, right? I had to pay AT&T. Claim $1 million tax deduction, and instead of giving that $1 million to AT&T, if I had $1 million, I don't, but you know, and instead of giving that $1 million to AT&T, I can keep it in my own pocket. Now, it's very, very hot money. I got to figure out a way to launder it. So what this company and the oligarch who ran it, this Russian company, did after they stole this money in this tax scam, $230 million, by the way, they laundered that money by buying, quote, high-end Manhattan real estate. A money laundering operation. Now, who has been on the other side of these money laundering operations ever since the U.S. banks refused to loan him any money because he's such a bad businessman? He couldn't keep a business solvent. He had to declare bankruptcy 4, 5, 6 times. Donald Trump. In fact, the whole Trump crime family, the Trump organization. I believe that what we're seeing right now is going to be the core of the Mueller indictment of Trump and an impeachment effort, which is that Donald Trump made his money after his major bankruptcy, after he pissed away all of his daddy's money, all $470 million that he appropriated from his father's estate, after he just went through all of that and was broke and bankrupt and was the butt of jokes in New York back in the early 2000s, the late 90s. Nobody took him seriously. He made his what would you call it, renewal, his return to the stage of New York real estate-dom by being the guy on the receiving end of laundered money. Not just from Russia, from all over the world, but also specifically from Russia. And I'm guessing in this case, well, he doesn't want us talking about that. So let's go on TV and talk about the wall. And all the media will go, oh yeah, let's talk about the wall. Let's not talk about Veselnitskaya. Let's not talk about Trump being a criminal or the entire Trump crime family engaging in criminal acts. Let's talk about brown people coming into the United States. This is what Trump wants. Any way he plays it, he wins. If the networks had said, no, do it on YouTube, like they said to Barack Obama when he wanted to talk about DACA, because they said, oh, that's just a partisan thing. If the networks had said that to Trump, he would do it on YouTube, and he would claim victimhood. He wins. Tonight he goes on the national networks. He wins. This is just so obvious. Why is this not obvious to everybody else? Why is this not obvious to the media? Hey guys, ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, you're being played by one of the master con men of the 20th and 21st century. I mean, honestly, one of the master con men.